Happy Wednesday, everyone. How are we all doing? It is Wednesday, the 2nd of April, 2025. How are we in April already? I mean, saying that, March was wild. I was talking about it last week. I was out the country for 18 days. I had a lot going on. And so much happened in just like 2 weeks, let alone the 18 days. And here we are in April. But I have to say, the clocks went forward in Europe on Sunday. It was technically Sunday. It was Sunday morning at like 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. So for anyone in the States who's a bit confused, like, why am I jumping around with the times? It's because we don't do it all at the same time. America, you do it a few weeks before. Funnily enough, when I landed in the US on my trip, I got in on the Saturday and then the clocks went forward on the Sunday. And then I've come back and I've got to experience the times going forward again. But I have to say, the weather, every morning I've been going out for a really long walk for like 90 minutes to 2 hours. It's been great. And one of the reasons I've been going for a walk is because of there's this like small little game that is, I mean, not a lot of people know about it, so I'm happy to sort of explain it to you. But it's called Pokémon Go. Have you ever heard of this, Pokémon Go? When I was in the States, my colleagues were playing it. And when I'm saying my colleagues, I'm talking about like leadership at Impact Reality. I love it. They were all getting me back into Pokemon Go. I hadn't played it since 2018, and I played so much. I think I'd walked 2,500 kilometers in Pokemon Go in the first couple of years, or few years it was out. And then I was loving all the things they've added to this game. And so, I downloaded it. I was playing it. But there was a lot to take in of new features. And then I landed in the UK, deleted it off my phone. And then a couple of days later, not only do I download it again, but I buy this device. It's an auto catcher, which means as you're walking around, it's this cute little thing, little Pokeball. And it just means that when you're walking around, it will spin Pokestops. And by the way, I appreciate I'm saying all these terms, and a lot of you are probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about? I did a video on my YouTube channel when it first came out about Pokemon Go. Let's see if it's still up. Is it still up? Oh my goodness. Want to talk about a trip down memory lane? Is this going to work? Look at this. Oh my goodness. So this was me talking about Pokemon Go. Let's have a look here. So yeah. What have we got here? Oh yeah, this was me talking about like playing it in all the weather conditions and everything like that. Yeah, Pokemon Go is amazing. Pokemon Go is amazing, but it has come a long way. And one of the things I loved about Pokemon Go, so for those that don't know what Pokemon Go is, it's an app on your phone based on Pokemon that most people know about. And the idea is that you go out into the world and you catch Pokemon. And in order to catch Pokemon, you need Pokeballs like these. And the way that you get them is you find these Pokestops. And they're basically landmarks on the map, like real-life landmarks. You have to walk up to them, you spin it, you get some items. You might get potions for healing your Pokemon if they've battled. You get Pokeballs that you need for catching Pokemon. And when it came out, it was before the pandemic, but it just took the world by storm. People were going out for long walks. You can find eggs that hatch into Pokemon, but what you do is you have to put them into an incubator, and depending on the rarity of the egg depends on how far you have to walk. So I think the most common eggs, you have to walk 2 kilometers, whereas the ones that are rarer, you have to walk 10 kilometers. So, you actually have to physically move and go out there. And it's been amazing. And one of the things I loved about it when it first came out was it meant that you explored areas where you live that you'd never explored before, because you often are just going between one place and another. Whereas when you're looking at the map, it's like, oh, there's a Pokestop. You click on it, you see a little picture, and it's like, oh, there's a little monument there. Oh, there's a little park bench round the lake, in tribute to someone that passed away. And that bit was really, really great. And it just meant that I ended up walking to places that I don't normally visit. So I'm curious how many of you out there have played Pokemon Go, or have you played any other AR related games? But what I love about Pokemon Go now, all these years later, is they now have something called routes. And what it means is you choose a Pokestop and you go, this is the start and this is the end of the route. And then you click record and then you walk. And then once you do it and get to the end, you end it, you give the name of the road a name and a description, and then you submit it. It then goes through an approval process. And then once it's approved, it means then on the map, you can see what are some routes near me. And you click on the routes, and these are ones that have been approved by people. And so one that I've created goes from my village to my local town, but it goes around some of the lakes and stuff like that. And I've been doing it every day. And I think one of the routes is 3 kilometers. And it's amazing. And it's just really cool getting to explore other routes that people have set. So like where I talked about how I liked it when it first came out about going to where Pokestops are, this is kind of the evolution of that. It's now taking you on routes and you know, paths that you might not have explored before. So yeah, Pokemon Go is free on the phone. I highly recommend checking it out. But it's not for everyone. I understand that. But I think while the weather is getting good, I think it can be really, really great. Anyway, that was a really long introduction, but I wanted to talk about Pokemon Go. And to be honest, my character in it looks a lot like me because Skeever, many of you will know from the VR space, he was showing me his character on Pokemon Go, and it looked awesome. It looked a lot like him. This character has the same jacket as me. Is it going to focus? There you go, look at me. The jacket. And so actually today, there you go. There's little Myles there. Wearing the same jacket that I've got. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. So really, really enjoying it. Anyway, before I get on with the rest of the show, another thing, I'm so hungry right now. I've not had a chance to eat all for most of today. And so food is on my mind right now. I'm going to get through this show, but I'm going to try and not be hangry. I might have to order some food during this. I hope you're okay if I do that. But before we talk about the main topic, which is AI, Studio Ghibli, you've seen all that stuff being talked about online. It's taken the internet by storm. The internet is once again talking about AI. It's bringing up a lot of interesting questions about creativity, the role of AI. Is it ethical? What safeguards can be put in place to protect people? Is this an inevitability? Can regulation stop it? All this kind of stuff we're going to speak about today. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about AI. The thumbnail of this was actually set up for a live show idea I had a long time ago for the AI dilemma. If you've not seen it yet, it is on YouTube. Check this out. I'll just show you the link here. This is it. Search the AI dilemma. But make sure you're like in a reasonably good mood, because when I listened to this on a drive, the first thing I said once the thing was over was, we are fucked. And it really took me down a couple of notches. It depressed me quite a lot, but it is fascinating. So yeah, this is from March 9th, 2023. So a couple of years ago. And it's really, really great. And Tristan Harris was one of the guys on this discussion. He did The Social Media Dilemma, which was a popular Netflix documentary. But it's really, really fascinating. And funnily enough, that video that you see playing right now is an AI generated creation. And they talked about, like, how does this make you feel? Does it make you feel differently knowing that that was not created by a human? Really, really interesting stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get to all that, I just want to say hello to everyone in the live chat who is here. So say hello if you haven't already. I want to say hello to Mojo. We got Kira Cat Lady. We got Trixie. We got Damo. We got Canic Tunes. We got Jason. We got William. Looking snappy, Miles. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, when I was on my walk today, went to my local barber's, got the cut just so I could look more like my Pokemon character. Not wearing the jacket today, which I should have. And by the way, Dragon Ball Z hoodie. I mean, I love the back. It's really awkward to show. JPEG, good to see you here. Chris into Purple House, hello to you. Is it Reinders? Is it Reinders? This Reinders? Have I got that right? Everyone's looking forward to Wanderer coming out tomorrow, right? So I'll be doing a Let's Play of that. I've had it for over a week, Wanderer, but I've stayed away because I'm just going to make sure my Let's Play is the first true experience of it. Who else we got in the chat? Hello to everyone. We have got lots of conversations about AI. I'm loving this. And Agramonia, hello to you. Hello. I'm glad you like it. And Jason. 2 Jasons here. That's good. And Callie Timecat, good to see you here. All right, everyone. Do hit the like button if you haven't already, and do subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of all future live streams. I do this show this time every Wednesday, where we talk about all sorts from the fun to the serious. I think it'll be a bit of a mixed bag, but probably more on the serious side today. And then also I do Let's Plays of every single PSVR 2 game, which I am making a good dent in. I've got a new graphic here because, as Looper says, you can see C smashes twice on this graphic. So good spotting there. Also, if you like the people that you see in the chat, they're lovely, lovely people. Head on over to the Empathy Arcade Discord. I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion happening there long after this is done. And check out my merch. And just to let you know, all this merch, none of it is AI generated. All of it I paid artists to create. It's not to say I don't use AI content for generation, but for all this sort of stuff, this was all done with paid artists. So yeah, head on over to questforempathy.com. Lots of cool stuff there. And if you like the music you hear at the start, head on over to Spotify and just search Myles Dyer Live for the music there. There we go. I think that is it. Chris says, I'm okay. How are you, Myles? I'm doing all right. Just really, really hungry right now. Really, really hungry. But I went for a long walk today. Soaked up lots of sun rays. Did wear sunscreen. But when you're in the sun for a while, it does make you sleepy. But hopefully it means I'll sleep better. Oh, and actually, finally, on sleep. This comes with a Pokemon sleep app that tracks your sleep. And do you know what happens? Is when you hold it in, I don't know if it's going to work, Pikachu sings you a lullaby. No? Okay, never mind. But Pikachu literally sings you a lullaby, and then Pikachu wakes you up in the morning. Very, very cute. Although I'm always like, there's an actual human singing this in Pikachu's voice, the other side of this. This is funny. Right. Cool. So AI. Why are we talking about it today in particular? Well, for those of you that don't know, this past week there was a trend taking the internet by storm, and it was regarding Studio Ghibli. And for those that don't know, Studio Ghibli, great studio that's worked on amazing pieces like Spirited Away that I love, Howl's Moving Castle. Do you know what? I still haven't seen enough of them, but you will recognize the style when you see it. But yeah, Studio Ghibli inspired memes and portraits made with ChatGPT are flooding the internet, which they've now removed the ability to do. And so yeah, this is what the kind of stuff that people were creating. It is pretty incredible. This was the one that was amazing. I don't actually know what this is from. Is this from a meme? I don't know if I know what this meme is. This is amazing. This is from, obviously, the Paris Olympics. And then we got memes like this. And obviously this famous one too. I mean, for me, like, regardless of what you think about it on the ethical side, it is absolutely incredible, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys feel that way, even if you don't like it per se. I was actually turned into a Studio Ghibli thing. I didn't make anything myself, but someone I knew shared. And Let me find this. My friend Maver made these, and look, that's me on the right with Mike from VR Oasis and Gamertag. But there's me on the right. I was pulling a sad face, and yeah, that is me in the style. And like, to be honest, the jacket in that is really well done. It is really, really impressive how it's done it. Yeah, what can I say? So all of this took the internet by storm, and this is people have been coming out against it, referring to it as AI slop. So someone was saying a knockoff Ghibli abundance floods our feeds, art reduced content, unique designs become mimetic generation, zero creativity. They say OpenAI. Let me just zoom in so you can see this a bit better. We have here that OpenAI, like many of its competitors, does not reveal the specific data used to train its models, but the accuracy of its Studio Ghibli impressions has also re-raised some users' questions about whether it scraped the studio's works without permission. An OpenAI spokesman said in a statement Wednesday that the company's goal is to give users as much creative freedom as possible. We continue to prevent generations in the style of individual living artists, but we do permit broader studio styles, which people have used to generate and share some truly delightful and inspired original fan creations. I'm pretty sure this was generated by ChatGPT. We're always learning from real-world use and feedback, and we'll keep refining our policies as we go. Studio Ghibli hasn't responded, but Miyazaki, a legendary animator, previously called AI-generated art an insult to life itself. Whoever made it gives no thought to pain. Gives no thought to pain. It's very unpleasant, he said during an AI demonstration in 2016. But the clip that he was shown was some weird zombie stuff. It's not what's today, and that's not to take away from how I would feel about your art being stolen in this way. So what I wanted to talk about today was AI. How did people feel about it? At Impact Reality and Flat to VR Studios, we're having a lot of conversations internally about it. I'm just going to give you my top line philosophy and attitude to AI. Firstly, I think AI is a great tool, but it's not like a. I mean, we say constantly internally, it's not a crutch. AI shouldn't be the complete output. So, for example, you'll see in all my Let's Play videos, there's an AI version of me. That was because, like, 3 years ago, I'd used Lenser, where I uploaded, like, 20 images of me, and then it created, like, 200 random AI images of me in different styles. A lot of them were pretty decent. Some of them were pretty horrifically not good. And I think I spent about £50, like $50 on like generating 600. And now I have a bucket of them. And what I do is every time I create a Let's Play, I will go into that bucket. I'll pick something that fits. But the thumbnail itself, I'm creating. Like, I'm going into Canva. I'm cropping the AI representation of me. The reason I went with that as an idea for my Let's Play videos is because VR is not real life. And so I liked the idea of having a representation of me that isn't real me, doesn't quite look right. But in terms of like the artwork of the game, the title, like the brand logo, and the Let's Play stuff, that is stuff that I design. Like I've spent hours and hours creating my thumbnails. So I don't just put out an output. There have been times that I've just created a quick image. I did it for my birthday live stream for like the social post, but for my thumbnail, again, I edited it and collated some things together. So, so I use AI as a tool. It is obviously to a much deeper degree problematic in the sense of what it can do at scale. So, for example, I'm sure there was a lot of questions. Well, I remember being at school doing mathematics, and some people were of the belief that using a calculator is cheating. It means you're going to get lazy. if you're not having to calculate it yourself. Whereas I see it as a empowerment tool. I think you still need to learn the skills to know what you're going to input into the calculator. So in the case of AI, how to get the right prompts. But then you also need to know what you do with it. The AI slop does exist where you do see people that are just using it to write blogs, don't even really think about it and change it. I use AI with a lot of my writing, but what I do is I first type my first draft. I then ask for it to provide me a list of suggested alternatives, grammar corrections, things like that. And then I will pick and choose and use that to work on whatever document I'm working on. So, that is how I use it. And so for me, it's a tool. And I find it very creatively fulfilling because it's just like me having someone to bounce ideas off. And that's the way that I use it. There's the problematic question, which is AI actually creating anything? Because it's just basically what it puts out is just stuff that it's been input in terms of stuff. Now this is, and I've spoken about this on previous shows before about AI, and I'm going to start reading everyone's comments, by the way, after this. And I know that this is a controversial take because we live in a time where there is a discussion, and it's why I'm really happy to be having it. But the idea that AI isn't creating anything because it's just basically amalgamating stuff that it's learned from previously created content, I think actually says more about humans than it does about AI. Because humans, we have the phrase, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Any word that we as humans utter or type, anything that we draw on a page, any note we play on an instrument or chord is something that has been taught to us from our environment or from another person before. Anything that we create is amalgamating prior experience and learnings. The difference is that AI is doing it at scale, and the difference is AI does it in a way that is completely traceable if we were shown where it's coming from. So like when AI does something, we could probably track exactly where it's come from. A lot of the times that we create stuff, and you hear this where artists will write a song and then it turns out that they're being done for plagiarism. And they didn't intentionally, well, for the most part, I'd assume, don't intentionally plagiarize, but they've heard music and they're coming up with stuff, and eventually there's going to be a crossover. You hear it with comedians where they tell the same joke as other people that you can trace online at some point and stuff like that. Doesn't necessarily mean they heard it directly, but we're all working in the same world. And so those are my two main points. One is, for me, AI is a tool. It's not something that should be entirely relied upon. And although I have rules on what I'm comfortable in using AI for and what I'm not, there are arguments that could be used against the way that I use it as being unethical. And I kind of feel like that's the same when it comes to environmental stuff. Environmental stuff with AI that I'll get to in a little bit, but also in terms of, the types of foods that we eat, where we buy our products, where we buy our clothes. I'm always that I try and take good decisions in life, but there's a lot of things that I could definitely be criticized for. And I'm just trying to do the best I can. And so for me, the question is, with the problems with AI, and this is what we're going to be talking about today, is it an inevitability that resistance is futile, or are there things that we can do to make sure that there is a moral compass with everything that it's done? And so, yeah, those are my thoughts I'm throwing out there. I'm looking forward to reading yours. I'm just going to go through the chat and what everyone's been talking about so far. Dominic says, maths has no creativity. Does it not? I think maths does have creativity. I mean, for me, creativity is the way that you manipulate things in the world. Is that right? What is the definition of creativity? Let's have a look. Definition of creativity: the use of imagination or original ideas. See, even I find that original ideas is problematic, because is anything truly original? The use of imagination or original ideas to create something, and it's inventiveness. So it's the ability to produce or use original or unusual ideas. So yeah, is maths creative? Is there creativity in maths? There are many aspects of creativity that can be applied to learning mathematics, making and exploring connections between concepts, taking leaps into uncharted territory based on some key ideas. There you go. It's a very creative subject, and it can be taught as playfully as the arts. So there we go. Let's have a look. Trixie says, AI has its uses, but I hate plagiarism. So for me, it's a question of like, when does something become plagiarism? Like direct, like the Studio Ghibli stuff is no doubt. But then like anime is a style that more people do. You know, when people create a first-person shooter game, is that plagiarism because Doom or Wolfenstein first did it? You know, is it just legality or is it ethics? At what point are we happy for people to run with something? There's another point to this I'm going to get to, which regards to like how our society works. But yeah, I've got a poll running in the YouTube chat at the moment, everyone. So please do vote on it. I'm saying AI generated stuff, yay or nay, and 76% of you are saying no. Callie says, I voted no when the poll came up. AI seems to be trampling on artistic creativity of humans. So, by the way, this is not me saying that all these are... Just because I'm challenging them doesn't mean I disagree with you necessarily, and I'm going to do that annoying thing of being devil's advocate. But is it trampling on human creativity? Like, what stops you from getting a pen and paper and doing that? What stops you from, you know, writing a story yourself? It could be said that like kids at school now are being less creative because they are using AI to do stuff on their behalf, and that could be a problem, no doubt. But I kind of feel like the joy of creativity is nothing to do with the output. It is the act of creating, and I find that still exists. Do you know what? And again, this is all on a sliding scale. When Instagram first came out, so many people I knew who were photographers were like, this is spitting on photography. Anyone can be a photographer now. And I'm like, no, because if you're great at photography, you can still go out and do it. And by the way, I'm not saying this is exactly the same as AI. I'm sort of saying it on a sliding scale, because everything is a sliding scale when it comes to AI. But, you know, everyone takes a photo and adds filters and thinks they're a great photographer. And I'm like, no, for me, it's democratizing the act of taking photos and sharing it. If you're a professional photographer, you can still go out there and take amazing shots. As a photographer, it's not just about the tool and the output. It's about the understanding of what makes a great photo. It's the lighting. It's the perspective. It's the angles and things that you do there. And I still think that remains. Let's have a look. Popsicle says, they are right. You rely too much on tech. You lose the skill. This is where we are heading. And so, yeah, do you know, I've never seen WALL-E. I've always wanted to. But that is a fear. And it's why I've always been a champion, and I've taught in schools. Digital citizenship, understanding the internet, understanding algorithms. It's talked a lot in the social media dilemma. The idea that, I don't think they necessarily word it this way. I think it was another TED talk. But like when we're consuming stuff online, we consume like fast food, which is all like the TikTok videos we enjoy or the YouTube videos we enjoy, and we get served more and more of it. Oh, you like that? Have more of this, have more of this. And then you've got your vegetables, which is like going outside your comfort zone to research subjects that you're interested in. And I think we have to be more self-disciplined because of the nature of the infinity machine that is the internet and now AI. And so, yeah, going back to Popsicle, I do think this is a real risk, but I think that with proper education, and I've always said that when it comes to digital citizenship, it's not teaching people what to learn, it's teaching people how to learn and giving people the empowerment to not just rely on tools, but to actually study things for themselves. Because AI is not going anywhere. It's just not. It's not. Shapeshifter says it has its purpose, but in general, it has no place in the creation of art. Okay. I'm like I agree with it. Basically, I'm mixed. I'm just like, I think you can create stuff with AI. You could have a drawing or like a photo that you've done. You've been creating a collage with a photo of you, and unfortunately, it's cropped your hair off at the top, where you're out of shot. We've all had that. But then you can expand it, and then it just like creates what the hair would look like. My mum's had old photos of her and her late brother and sister when they were kids, and it had lots of blotches on it and like marks, and I was able to use the AI magic eraser to just like remove those blotches. But that goes back to the thing that I'm saying, and I think we are probably a lot of us saying the same thing. I'm talking about AI as a tool, as a part of a process. I'm not doing AI to be like, create a photo of my mum and her late brother and sister. You know, that's different. William says, I've been a professional artist for over 30 years. I am now obsolete. Now, the thing is, it's not just artists. Like AI, and actually, this is a great. I'm really glad you brought this up, William. And I'd love for you to elaborate on that, unless you have lower in the chat, which I'll get to. But I'd love to hear more about your profession and in the ways that you feel or it has made you obsolete. This is getting to a fundamental question about how society runs. Now, I've spoken for a good 15 years now about the concept of a resource-based economy. It's post-capitalism. It's the idea that with systems in place, with computers and AI, you no longer need money to dictate supply and demand. You literally can monitor supply and demand of goods and services and have things allocated in a way that is the most efficient. The reason I bring this up is the reason this is so damning what is happening right now is because artists work in their field as a profession. And if AI is removing them and people are like, why do I need to pay for an artist to do something when I can just get ChatGPT to do it at, $20 a month? We live in a society where you need to make money to live. And so it's actually killing people's livelihoods. And it's not just going to be the creative industry. It's going to be happening across so many industries. It's going to impact truck drivers. Look, I work in marketing and PR. It's going to potentially most likely replace my job. And so it's that whole thing of like, it's on us, if we are going to assume that this is inevitable, to work out how do we become strategists and how do we become basically the engineers. But more importantly, we need a fundamental like realignment in society. We need a new economic system where, if it's universal basic income as a sort of a transitional thing, but we need a system where people don't need to work to live anymore. And I don't want to get into this because this is going to sidetrack a bit, but I've always talked about we live on an oil-based economy. So if we all had solar panels and we were producing our own electricity, technically we wouldn't need to work anymore because the solar power would power our homes. It would power fabricators for producing food and items. We could feed it back into the grid with an excess that we could get paid credits for. And then we'd be in an open source economy where everyone's designing goods and services that others can enjoy and live by. But unfortunately, we live in a society at the moment where, not giving any names, I'm sure you can guess them, very wealthy individuals want to hoard their wealth and their power, and they want to use AI to crush everyone else so they maintain that wealth and power. AI can be used as an incredibly democratizing force, and if that happens, we would then be in a situation where we can live our lives and we can be creative because we want to be creative, not because we've got bills to pay. And I wonder if that was achieved, would that change people's feelings about AI and what it does? Because it's no longer a threat to the livelihood. It maybe is just a threat to the attention our art would get. But then why do we create art in the first place? I definitely threw a lot of big ideas out there. So I love that came from just this comment, William. So I'm just going to keep going down. But thank you for that. Jason says, AI lacks the element of spirit. Damo says this comment is original. Are you talking about, like, ironically? Was that ChatGPT created? Oh, he self-plagiarized. Trixie says, my friend is amazing with her AI videos, but I voted no. Here we go. Popsicle says, because you'll create something yourself and someone will probably use AI and they might get more recognition. That's the problem. But to be honest, that's already happening with the internet anyway, is people create stuff, corporations take stuff and they run with it. It's just happening on an industrial scale. And I think it gets to that point. I know I'm reading comments before that last piece I said, but I think it is why the livelihood aspect is what makes it so damaging. Hollywood possibly uses a lot. Well, what was interesting, actually, and let me see if I can find this, is there was a story recently. This was reported on The Verge, as well as a few others. So Sony is working on a prototype AI-powered version of at least one of its PlayStation game characters, and this was Aloy from Horizon. So Aloy could be seen responding to queries with an AI-powered synthesized voice and facial movements, both in demo setting and within the full Horizon Forbidden West game. They made it clear that this prototype has been developed alongside Guerrilla Games to demonstrate the technology internally at Sony. So it used OpenAI's Whisper for speech-to-text and both ChatGPT 4 and Llama 3 for conversations and decision-making. It was made with little overhead, and they said this is a glimpse of what is possible. Now, this wasn't meant to get out, and it did get out, and the voice actress of Aloy has expressed concern, and like there's a lot of conversations happening, a lot of what's it called, guys? What's it called when you gather? You're in the job market. You have a union. People unionize. This is why I need to get some food after this show. People are unionizing in Hollywood and that, and the bit they're getting stuck on is protections on AI, because otherwise, what's going to happen is they will take your voice, and then they can just use it as much as they want. And what are the implications of that? And I have to say, people, where AI is going to be, like we've been talking about this on this show for the last 2 years as it's really been ramping up, where it's going to be, like where life is going to be in 5 years, we have no idea. And I genuinely think that the economy as we know it is going to be completely destroyed. And if we don't have governments that are willing to make things work with like universal basic income or other bold ideas, I think as a society we're in a lot of trouble. Callie says, I still write creatively, including poems, and it's still fun. I'm on a class where we do timed poetry, but it feels like AI might be able to do what I do in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. But it doesn't do what you do in 5. I know what you're saying is like it can put an output like that, but what you do is you go through the thoughtful process of like, AI is not like learning. You can give it some ideas, but it's coming in with some other perspectives based on the info it's been put in. But when you're coming up with stuff, you're dealing with the emergence of consciousness, of like, you're just sitting there and just seeing what comes to the surface. If I was still in a band today, because I was the lyricist in my band Schemata Theory, I'll give you an example of where I might use AI. I would always write lyrics myself, and when I'm in the studio, we might need a new bit. And I remember there was one moment in one of the songs, they're like, we need something here, write it now. And normally I would spend weeks and weeks doing stuff and thinking about it, and I hated being put on the spot. But there is something kind of fun with it. But what I might use AI to do is be like, here are some concepts I've got, here are some ideas I've got, but is there a way of, are there some suggestions just to kind of like, this is such a weird metaphor, and I've used this throughout my entire life in a lot of ways when it comes to ideas, and this might not even make sense, so you can push back on me, but I talk about like, if you've got a tennis ball and you're throwing it at the wall and catching it again, that process of like, you're throwing something, you're getting something back, and then you know what you're dealing with. And I kind of feel like AI is a good way of just bouncing something off the wall, of being like, this is something I want to do here. Okay, this kind of bit works. This kind of bit works here. It's a good idea for brainstorming stuff. Wall-E is a must-watch. I do need to see it. Hey, Siago. Good new profile picture. Canuck says, most people can't afford the zoom lenses required for wildlife photography. That's true. That is true. Let's have a look. I went outside once, but the resolution was shit. Jason says, yes, there are no original ideas per se. Most things we do is based on what we went before. But if I use that prior thing, it is because somehow I related to it, conscious or subconscious. And I agree. And this goes to like what it is to be human. And again, I don't think, in some cases it might. When I use AI, I don't think it steals my humanity. Because my humanity is like doing stuff like this. If I had an AI version of me, and there will be a day where I'm not feeling well today, so I'm gonna have an AI version of me come on camera and do this, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Maybe things will change, and I'll be like, I'll put a note on saying I'm unwell today, but here's an AI version of me. I don't know. I think that's why live video does so well. It's the sense that right now we're having a real connection, we're having a real conversation, and running with it. Do you know what I mean? The resolution in our eyes is supposed to be something like 7 million pixels, but our eyes dart about and takes whole pictures. Yeah, how many pixels in our eye? Oh, it's 576 megapixels is what our eye is. But a single glance would only be about 5 to 15 megapixels. There we go. This reminds me of when models would airbrush their pics and look unrecognizable in real life. I refuse to do that. It's interesting you say that, because one of the photos that I used to have when I was testing out my friend's, I was helping my friend set up her new photography studio, and there was, and we were just testing photos, and she took a great photo of me, and that's one of them. I can't find the other though. Let me see if I can find this. But she basically said to me, "Oh, I'm going to touch this up. Are you all right with doing it in front of you?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And the reason she asked was because normally you're not doing it when the person's there. And so what I saw her do was, like, on photos like this, was just like removing a few blemishes and stuff like that. I think making my teeth maybe a bit whiter. I love this photo so much, but because I'm leaning on a table, my shoulders are hunched up. But the photo that she did it on, this was the full one. This was it. Check this out. Look at this. Like, ridiculous. Now, the jacket down that back side, so like here, there, that jacket bit there was flapping out, and she edited it to make it fall down the side so it was completely straight. So, like, artificial representations, like, you look at that, it's me, it's definitely me. I had really good lighting in the studio, and she did some great edits. But I wouldn't put it on a dating profile because it would be false advertising. That's how I feel about it. Popsicle says AI isn't going anywhere, whether people accept it or give it attention. And this is the thing, is I think there's no stopping it. The question is, what can we do to live with it? Siago says, it can be a useful tool. It worries me with music. I suspect it will dilute the entire landscape. I heard not so long ago, and it won't surprise people when it comes to Spotify and the owner and all the questionable stuff he does with like what he says about what people should be paid. I think they're going to start rolling out AI music. I mean, I remember years ago saying one day we're going to have an algorithm where it'll be what's your mood, and it will create music in real time to what you're feeling. And I think that's a thing. But I still want to like tune in and listen to bands. You know, again, it's why live streaming is great. It's why I won't watch a video that's presented by an AI person. I want to know that the person I'm speaking to is real. But then the question is, eventually, are we even going to know? There's a phrase, isn't there, about the dead internet theory? Do you know about the dead internet theory? So the dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory. I like this. Okay, maybe this is slightly different to what I know then. So the dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that asserts due to a coordinated and intentional effort, the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content manipulated by algorithmic curation to control the population and minimize organic human activity. So I didn't know this in the context of like it being intentionally done, but I could imagine that like the internet and most of what we're seeing isn't real. So I've always known about astroturfing, and that's a real thing. So proponents of the theory believe that these social bots were created intentionally to help manipulate algorithms and boost search results in order to manipulate consumers. I mean, everyone's been trying it. Some proponents of the theory accuse governments, agencies of using bots to manipulate public perception. The date given for this death is generally around 2016 or 2017. The dead internet theory has gained traction because many of the observed phenomena are quantifiable, such as increased bot traffic, but the literature on the subject does not support the full theory. So there we go. Going to a gig to watch an AI band writing entirely AI songs done by holographic AI performances. Yeah. To me, AI takes away the human aspect of things, and to me, just feels cold and calculated. So like, I would say, everyone, you see the thumbnails I make for my Let's Plays. Do people feel that, do people just hate them? Like, who here honestly hates my Let's Play thumbnails, which are done with an AI image, but I do edit them myself. Let's have a look here. So this stuff here. Have we got the Let's Play? So all this stuff. Oh, here we go. Is it going to let me see? Yeah, all the thumbnails. All these thumbnails. Like, I edit all these, but it does have an AI representation of me on it. And I see some people online talking about how they hate VR thumbnails, game thumbnails with AI. To be honest, the way I've seen it is like where they do AI representations of the games, which is misleading. For me, it's clearly I'm just having fun with it. And it just helps mix things up. So, yeah. Yeah, it worries me when games, you're going to be talking to people in-game, thinking they're a human. It's actually an AI that's leading you on to do a in-game purchase or something. JPEG says, I think it's... Wow, we're almost at the top of the hour. I need to order food. I think it's going to take stringent international laws to regulate AI usage and generation, which sadly probably won't happen, in my opinion, until AI becomes too disruptive and starts causing extreme problems, by which point I think it's too late. Delta Charlie says, when humans become dependent on technology, then technology becomes too easy to divert human error. Sometimes that's a good thing, but for creative purposes, it's bad. William, thank you for following up. I am a sculptor, concept illustrator. I have been largely impacted by 3D printers. Wow. Okay, 3D printers. Yeah, man. Well, the old classic saying was like, was it, did they say like, learn to code? That was the phrase, was it? What do we feel about like learning new skills? And I'm not saying this in a dismissive way. Like, once upon a time, like, again, this is why I'm talking about it's on a gradient. Things are just happening at an exponential rate. Once upon a time, you would go into an elevator and there would be someone there whose job it was to say, which floor are we going to? They'd close the door and take you to the floor that you need to go to. Technology replaced that job, and so it was for them to then relocate. So isn't this just what's happening now? And and again, it's happening on such a vast scale now, which I think is brutal, and it's why it gets to the fundamentals of like how do we make a living and things like that. This is it. AI and capitalism is major trouble ahead. I honestly think this is the case. I've always been very open about stuff. I am not one of these people that go capitalism is evil through and through. Capitalism has done a lot of good for the world, but it is a phase, and we are in like post late stage capitalism where it's cancerous now. Like it's literally killing the planet. Taxing AI tax maybe. The bit we didn't even get to was the environmental concerns. So AI, like Google, for example, aims to run entirely on carbon-free energy by 2030, meaning they want all their data centers and campuses to operate on renewable energy around the clock. Microsoft has pledged to be carbon negative by 2030, meaning they'll remove more carbon than they emit. They're investing in carbon capture technology and reforestation projects. The problem with reforestation, firstly, is forests are burning down. And secondly, you can do reforestation, but just replanting trees is not going to build deep, important ecosystems that have taken thousands, hundreds of thousands of years to develop. But the other problem also is to do with data center cooling. So like water that is used to cool. There are things being explored like having the servers in space so that the vacuum cools it down. There's research into liquid cooling, using outside air in cooler climates or even underwater data centers. But for me, and this is probably a good way to wrap up the conversation, and then I'll go through any final comments before we wrap up, and then I do need to go and eat, is this. I have, for a long time, always had a problem with the idea that technology will fix all our issues. Climate change, don't worry, technology will fix it. My concern is, let's just say that AI, and I do think AI is going to have a lot of help with like cancer research. I think we're going to have some major breakthroughs in the next 5 years. I think that it could actually help us solve the climate crisis. But I am not, and this goes to the philosophy with the creative space, I am not saying AI is a crutch. I'm not saying AI will solve it, so it's fine. It's like, no, AI is a tool to help us get there, but we still need the human input and we still need the human output. I was going to say the human execution, but that would sound like a doomer thing of AI executing humans. I mean that humans then need to know how to implement it and push it through with policy and stuff like that. The challenge that we've got, and I think it's going to be the challenge of this decade, is we might need to lean into AI more to get to the solutions that are going to solve climate breakdown and things like that. But in doing so, in accelerating AI, it's going to speed up climate breakdown. And so the question is, do we need to lean really into it so we get to the solution quick enough to then solve the problem that it's been contributing to? Or do we actually take our foot off the gas completely and look at other ways? That's the question I have in my mind about what's happening in the world at the moment. But what I can say is definitely an issue, and it goes back to what I said earlier, is we have big players, wealthy, powerful players in the space who aren't thinking about equality, democracy, wealth equality and distribution. They're not interested in democratizing stuff. They're interested in maintaining wealth or growing their wealth and maintaining, if not growing their power, using these tools. And so there we go. Thank you very much, Karen Kid. Appreciate you liking. Do hit the like button if you haven't already. Classy Grandma, thank you so much. I've just seen the super chat. Can we give it up for Classy Grandma? $20, thank you. I am so excited to catch you live. I'm a surprise Eric did not tell you about. Don't mean to interrupt. Big hug. No, not at all. Appreciate you. Same time every week when I'm not live streaming my my Let's Plays. But this is just a chilled chat where sometimes we debate the best pizza toppings or best ice cream, or sometimes we chill last Wednesday of the month and stuff like that. But honestly, a massive thank you. Very, very kind super chat, Classy Grandma. It's good to see you here. Thank you so much. Popsicle says, order something now. No, I'll do it after the show. Hercules says, God, I've got so much to catch up with. I'm on the positive side of this question. This year, AI has allowed me to build and create things I've never previously been able to due to my own skill sets. I find an AI tool immensely compelling. And then we've got dystopian future. Right. And AI is a damn tricky subject, it is. And I have friends that are on both sides of the spectrum. I have those that are outright on my feed condemning stuff outright. And I respect what they're saying. But that's why I bring up these questions of like, AI is a democratizing force. AI is a great tool, but it shouldn't be the crutch and like the full output. AI, and when I say AI is a tool, it means you have human input by consent, as in it's your human input. And then you have an output that you then have something to do with it. Right. Are there any AI live streams? There probably are. Sorry, I'm catching up with loads on that. Herc also says, protection IP is important, but the reach we can achieve with the additional compute is extraordinary. The challenge is, as Myles states, how corporations behave. Delta says, AI is bad. For humans, we make mistakes, we learn. We create ideas through imagination, while AI just compilates from definitions. I mean, look, but then I would say this. Putting your hand on a hot stove, you shouldn't do. You teach kids not to put a hand on a hot stove. Are we saying that kids need to do that to learn it for themselves, or can they learn just from being taught it? That might be quite a sorry, I'm so hungry now. My brain is dying. I need AI to speak for me. It might seem like a very flippant, facetious way of describing it, but like empathy and learning from prior knowledge doesn't mean we always have to experience it, or you can at least experience it in a digital way. But yeah. GameCat says, 10 years ago, I'd spend months taking up to 50 photographs to combine in Photoshop to create fantasy posters, something that could be achieved with a few lines of text these days with little effort. I've clearly developed some dead-eye pixels now. I love this. God. See, I'm only going through the comments now from the photo. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ. I need to skip all through this. Right, I'm skipping all the way down. I'm so sorry, guys. Now you're questioning whether I'm real. Herc says, love the thumbnails. I don't have any problems using these tools for creating their own images. And William says, I'm a gamer now. Not too bad. That's how Cole Winslow's wife lost her job. She was an elevator operator on Perfect Strangers Family Matters. There we go. Yeah, the potential for oh man, this is the thing, is we're talking about a very specific part of AI, and there's so much more to it. And God, yeah. Honestly, guys, I'm just scrolling through all the chat. This has been absolutely amazing. And there's lots of people joining. Paradise Decay, hello to you. Random Toxie, hello to you. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. I can't believe this. Unbelievable. You have so much humanity in your live stream, Myles. I love that. Thank you very much. You're very kind. It's because of you guys, because we get to hang out and talk about every week. And do, please, people, join the Discord. If you got topics or ideas for future shows, put it in there. I'd love to hear from it. Next week we'll have something a bit more fun. Also, I'm determined to get some guests on. Do you know I was actually going to be talking about Pokémon Go on today's episode, but instead we just chilled instead. Okay, I'm going to order some food, but before I do that, we like to do... Oh my God, it's not... What's going on? Ta-da! Vitamin G. So every week we like to take a moment to think about what we're grateful for in life. And so I just want to throw it out there. What I say to people is the idea of vitamin G is just to spend a moment every day to think about one thing you're grateful for. It could be a place, could be a person, could be an experience, could be absolutely anything. And you don't have to share it in the chat. Just the act of thinking about it is actually really good for your mental health. When I've had a bad day, when my head hits the pillow and I go to sleep, I just say, here are 3 things that I enjoyed today. And just thinking about it can do wonders. And so I just always like to end the show on something positive. So with all that said, AI was interfering with vitamin G. I think it's because I manually made it disappear before. So if I go out of it and back on, ta-da, there we go. So yeah, let's have some vitamin Gs while we go through this, while listening to some AI background music. I'm going to count this as a vitamin G, Damo. You say cheeseburger. Trixie says, I'm grateful for coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do get the appeal. Paradise Decay says, grateful for AI. Classy Grandma says, I call vitamin G a moment of joy. That's nice. Co-op gelato. Oh man, guys, you're making me so hungry. What am I going to order? To be honest, I could go home and cook, but I just feel like I need to treat myself something. But I was so determined this month to like cut down on spending. It's not going well. William, this is lovely. My family is my happy thought. Amen to that. And thank you very much. It's good to have you here. Like, always wonderful. And I just say I appreciate all of you who are watching this on replay. It's always wonderful to have people in the live chat, but those that can't, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below with this conversation. Like, let's keep the conversation going. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And for those of you live, like if you go away and you're like, oh, I had to think about that, this is what I thought, or you have a much fuller conversation that doesn't fit in the live chat, put it in the comment section afterwards. Would love to hear it. Delta Charlie says, vitamin G, ordering takeaway food so you don't have to cook or wash dishes. Herc says, thanks, Miles. Peeps, nice chat. Vitamin G that Miles is not AI. Or am I? Random says, had a good job interview yesterday. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for you, Random Toxie. Grateful for cheese. Oh, man, I can't wait for better vegan cheese. Oh, man, talking about pasta, that could help. All you can eat. All you can eat sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? Do you know what? I can't actually remember the last time I had an all you can eat. And all you can eat is actually a really good metaphor for the resource-based economy I spoke to. Am I going to talk about this now? We should wrap this up. I'll talk about it quickly. So, the worry people have with a resource-based economy is the idea that if goods and services are freely available to everyone, we're just going to completely deplete the planet. My argument is that we won't, because if you have abundance, people aren't going to be hoarding because there's no need to. If you always had access to a lawnmower in your street, would everyone need to own a lawnmower when you're not using it all of the time? If there was AI automated vehicles that could pick you up and take you to where you need to go, does everyone need a car on their drive for like 80% of the day not being used? Just this big bit of metal, paying car tax and road tax and insurance and all that sort of stuff. The all-you-can-eat section is you go to an all-you-can-eat restaurant, and for the most part, we will try and eat as much as we can. And the reason we do it is because we want to get our money's worth. But I went on vacation many years ago to Turkey, and it was an all-inclusive, so like ultra-inclusive, where food and drink was available. And so it was all you can eat, but it was for the full 2 weeks. And what happened? Did I stuff my face every single day? No, I didn't. I ate just what I needed, because I was in an environment where I was always reassured that I could eat what I needed when I needed it. And that's the thing with a resource-based economy, is if things are readily available, you're not going to hoard. You're just going to have stuff when you need it, knowing that it's always there when you need it. And yeah, I just thought I'd end on that. Okay. All right. There's one more Vitamin G from Callie. He says, someone who I talk in a group who is lovely, Sarah. It was a TDOV on Monday, so some Vitamin G on visible transness too. Much love for that. Much love for that indeed. Everyone says I would stuff themselves. You would stuff yourself initially, unless you had some condition, which some people have. But anyway, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for tuning in. This was an absolutely packed episode. And we only scratched the surface. But I just want to say, always appreciate the respectful conversation. I always love that we get to challenge ideas and think about it. But yeah, this is something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. So just to finish off, let's see how the poll went. I said AI generated stuff, yay or nay? And the result was this: 70% nay, and 29 point something percent yay. All right, everyone, I want to say a massive thank you for tuning in. Do hit the like button before you leave. Half of you have clicked it who are watching live. So if you have a YouTube account, just hit the like button. Really, really appreciate it. Leave your comments in the comment section below afterwards, and do subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of all future Myles Dyer lives every Wednesday, and also my Let's Plays. Tomorrow, Wonder is out. I can't wait to play it, and hopefully I will see you there. So take good care of yourselves. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Love, respect, empathy, and adios. Till next time. Bye, bye, bye. Wonderful, wonderful messages. Yeah, much love to Shapeshifter, reading that about your mother. Yeah, sending all my best. And to anyone out there who is going through a tough time, I was speaking with a couple of friends this week who are really, really struggling for various reasons. And, you know, I often think about it, like, when I go on my long walks, of just, like, how the pendulum can swing in life. Like, there'll be some days where you've just dealt with some really bad stuff, and it's just like, life is terrible. And then there are other times where you're just like, man, life is beautiful. It's full of a lot, and it really is a pendulum swing. But it's just about solidarity, being kind to other people. You never know what they're going through. And it's why I'm really, really grateful for this community that we have here. So, yeah, much love to all of you. And if any of you are struggling, and it's not something you've talked about openly, I just want you to know that I hope that better minutes, hours, and days are ahead of you. Okay, so have a good one. I still haven't ordered my food yet, so I'm going to do that now, and I might go out and play some Pokemon Go. Pika Pika, or all that stuff, right? Catch you later, everyone. Much love.